Every second you hesitate, another man outworks you. Every moment you waste, another man takes what was meant to be yours. Strength isn't given, power isn't inherited, legacy isn't found, it's earned in the dark, when no one claps, when no one cares, and only the strong survive. Wake up or get left behind. Look around you. Look at the world they built while you slept. Weak men walking with slouched shoulders, terrified of their own reflection, apologizing for having a backbone. They teach you to be soft, to be compliant, to lower your voice and your standards. They tell you that ambition is toxic, that aggression is dangerous, that leadership is outdated. They poison you with comfort and call it happiness. They feed you weakness and dress it up as compassion. And if you dare to stand tall, if you dare to say, I refuse to be weak, they look at you like you're the problem. But here's the truth. They're afraid of strong men because strong men cannot be controlled. You were born with fire in your veins. You were built for adversity, for dominance, for greatness. That ache you feel deep down, the frustration, the anger, the restless energy, is not a flaw. It's your soul screaming at you to wake up. It's the primal part of you, the real you, demanding to be unleashed. Every second you spend living beneath your potential is another second you betray the man you were meant to become. And when you sit still to numb your instincts, to believe that strength is dangerous because a strong man doesn't beg for permission, a strong man doesn't bow, a strong man builds empires where others beg for crumbs. When I tell you to embrace masculinity, I'm not talking about growing a beard or shouting louder. I'm talking about becoming unshakable. Discipline sharper than a razor. Focus so intense it rattles the weak-minded. You are meant to be a leader, not because someone grants you authority, but because your strength, your discipline, your presence demands it without a word spoken. And leadership starts with yourself. If you cannot command your own mind, if you cannot rule over your own weaknesses, how can you ever expect to lead others? You must first conquer yourself before you conquer the world. Understand this, life does not get easier. The world will not slow down to accommodate your excuses. There will be storms, there will be betrayals, there will be nights where you feel broken, alone, forgotten, but a real man does not fold. A real man does not cry out for rescue. He sharpens his sword in the darkness. He grows stronger while others collapse. He understands that hardship is not his enemy, it's his proving ground. Every obstacle you face is not a punishment, it's an opportunity to forge yourself into the kind of man this world cannot ignore. There is a quiet honor in hardship. There is a sacred nobility in struggle. When you suffer, when you grind, when you push through the days where your body screams for rest and your mind begs you to quit, you are sculpting something eternal. You are not just surviving, you are becoming legendary. Weak men look for an escape. Strong men look for a challenge. And every moment you embrace the fire instead of fleeing from it, you step closer to the highest version of yourself. You are not here to be liked. You are not here to blend in. You are here to rise, to dominate, to inspire. They will call you cold. They will call you cruel. Let them. The world has enough soft hands and trembling voices. What it desperately needs are men who do not apologize for their strength. Men who carry the weight of their destiny without complaint. Men who lead not with noise, but with undeniable presence. The kind of man who walks into a room and changes its energy by existing. Not because he seeks attention, but because he commands respect. Strength is not loud. Strength is not boastful. Strength is silent, consistent, and absolutely undeniable. You must decide who you are. You must choose to be disciplined when no one is watching. You must force yourself to push when your mind tells you to rest. You must stand tall when it would be easier to fold. Because true masculinity is not given, it is earned. Earned through relentless discipline, unbreakable will, and a refusal to be anything less than excellent. Every rep in the gym, every book you consume, every hard conversation you have instead of avoiding, it all stacks into the foundation of your masculinity. A man who cannot govern himself will always be a slave. A man who can master his own mind becomes unstoppable. Understand this and burn it into your mind. The world doesn't owe you understanding. It doesn't owe you sympathy. It rewards those who seize it by the throat and demand their place. You have two choices. Become the man you were born to be, or rot in the pit with the rest of the forgotten. It'll be hard. It will be lonely at times. It will require you to sacrifice the easy pleasures most cling to like a crutch. But in the end, when you have forged yourself into something immortal, when you stand above the ruins with calloused hands and an iron heart, you will know it was all worth it. Masculinity is not the enemy. Weakness is. And if you have the courage to chase strength relentlessly, to build discipline where there was chaos, to forge leadership out of confusion, you will not just survive this broken world, you will rule it. Because the world bends, not to the loud, not to the soft, but to the strong. It always has, it always will. I remember the nights when the world felt like it was collapsing around me. No money, no future, no one coming to save me. I used to sit there in the silence, staring at the ceiling, waiting for something to change. You know what never came? Help. No handouts, no miracle, no cavalry charging over the hill, nothing. It was in that darkness, in that raw, brutal silence that I learned the first and greatest lesson a man can ever learn. No one is coming to rescue you. No one is obligated to make you strong. No one is responsible for your success. That burden, that blessing falls entirely on your shoulders. And it's only when you accept that brutal truth that you begin to transform. I realized that if I wanted to become powerful, I had to take every broken piece of myself and forge it into a weapon. The world wasn't going to give me respect. It wasn't going to hand me confidence, discipline, or power. I had to take it. I had to earn it through suffering, through consistency, through sacrifice. The universe doesn't reward wishes, it rewards action. You can sit around hoping all you want, but hope without discipline is nothing but fantasy. Every single night I sat in that broken apartment. Every single morning I woke up with empty pockets. I could have quit. I could have blamed everyone else. I could have drowned in excuses like the rest. But something inside me refused to die. Something inside me whispered, you are more than this. Fight. Oh, I did. Not because I felt like it, not because it was easy, but because masculinity demands that you rise, not when it's convenient, but when it's necessary. I forced myself into the gym when my body screamed in protest. I pushed myself to work, to study, to hustle, even when my mind begged me to quit. I learned to kill the part of me that wanted comfort. I buried the weakness and planted strength in its place. There were no cameras, no applause, no one telling me I was doing a good job. It was just me, my ambition, and the relentless voice in my head saying, be better or be nothing. But there's something sacred about building yourself from the ruins, something holy about turning pain into power. Every man must face that moment when he's broken, alone, and the only way forward is through his own will. That's where masculinity is forged, not in easy victories, not in inherited comfort, but in the battlefield of self-doubt and despair. Comfort is the enemy of greatness. And every second you waste seeking comfort, you rot a little more inside. Growth only happens when you are willing to endure the storms, to stand face to face with your own fears and refuse to kneel. You must understand there is no honor in surrendering to weakness. There is no pride in blaming the world. There is only pride in standing tall when everything in you wants to fold. In choosing the hard path because you know the easy one leads to nowhere worth going. I didn't become strong because life was fair to me. I became strong because I stopped asking life to be fair. I stopped waiting for the world to be easy and started becoming the kind of man who could thrive no matter how brutal the battlefield became. The measure of a man is not how he acts when things are easy, but how he endures when everything is stacked against him. There is a quiet, undeniable power in the man who builds himself, a gravity that pulls opportunities toward him, that makes people listen when he speaks, that demands respect without ever asking for it. That's real masculinity. It's not about flexing muscles or shouting louder. It's about being a man whose presence alone commands attention because everyone can feel the battles he has fought and won in silence. I understood that no one would hand me that power. I had to carve it out of stone, inch by inch, day by day, without validation, without mercy. The world bends to men who refuse to bend for it. That's the simple truth they don't want you to know. They want you docile, broken, begging for scraps, but you were not born to be a beggar. You were born to be a king. Not a king who inherits a throne, but a king who conquers one. The only thing standing between you and the life you were destined for is your ability to suffer without quitting, to discipline yourself without applause, to lead yourself without permission. You cannot borrow strength. You must build it with your own blood and sweat. Every man must face that moment where he decides, am I willing to endure the pain necessary to rise? Or will I wither into nothing like the countless forgotten who chose the easy way? I chose the pain. I chose the struggle. I chose the path where every step forward felt like war. And in choosing it, I became something the world could not break. That's the power of masculinity. That's the power of standing tall in a world built to break you. You don't get to choose the battles life throws at you, but you do get to choose whether you meet them like a man or cower like a boy. The best thing that ever happened to me was being forced to stand alone, Because when you have no one to lean on, you realize how powerful you truly are. You realize that strength doesn't come from handouts or comfort. It comes from standing when your legs shake. It comes from pushing when your heart is broken. It comes from enduring when every part of you screams to quit. If you have the courage to keep moving forward, if you have the guts to suffer and build in silence, you will become something unstoppable. Pain is temporary. Weakness is a choice. Power is eternal. There's a war happening right now, and most of you don't even realize you're on the losing side. Every second you waste living soft, every excuse you make to stay weak, every moment you choose comfort over conquest, you are falling behind. The clock is ticking whether you move or not. Time doesn't care if you're ready. It keeps moving, it keeps taking. You are either building the man you were born to be, or you're becoming a spectator in your own life, watching it rot away, watching opportunities you'll never get back slip through your fingers. The world will not wait for you to grow up. It will crush you under the weight of your own wasted potential if you let it. You don't have as long as you think. One day you will wake up and the chance will be gone. The energy, the hunger, the fire, it will have faded, drowned under years of cowardice and procrastination. Regret is heavier than pain. And once it settles in your bones, once it starts whispering to you in the dead of night about everything you could have been, it will eat you alive. I've seen men die long before they're buried, not because their heart stopped beating, but because their spirit surrendered. They lived soft, they chased distraction, they thought they had time, and when they finally realized the truth, it was already too late. You have one shot at life. One. There are no second rounds, no restarts, no magic button to undo your weakness. Every moment you hesitate, every time you choose fear over action, you are actively destroying the life you were meant to live. There are other men out there right now who are training harder, thinking sharper, moving faster, while you sit and tell yourself tomorrow will be better. Tomorrow is a lie. Tomorrow is the most dangerous drug they sell you. Men who live for tomorrow die today. If you are not pushing yourself right now, in this moment, you are losing the only war that matters, the war for your own soul. You have to feel the urgency in your bones. You have to move like you're running out of time, because you are. You must live with the constant awareness that death is coming, that one day you will breathe your last and everything you could have been will be carved into stone. Will your story be one of power, dominance, resilience, or one of regret, excuses, and mediocrity? You're writing that story every single day with your choices, whether you acknowledge it or not. Every second is a decision, build or decay. There is no neutral. Life is movement. You are either climbing or you are crumbling. The fear that grips you, that whisper in your mind telling you to slow down, to take it easy, to wait, kill it, crush it before it roots itself into your soul. Fear is a liar. It pretends to protect you, but in reality, it shackles you to a small, pathetic existence. Masculinity demands that you face fear, that you spit in its face and move anyway. You don't eliminate fear by waiting for courage to magically appear. You eliminate fear by action. Action kills fear. Action builds strength. Action turns boys into men. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's refusing to be controlled by it. The world is overflowing with men who had dreams but lacked the discipline to see them through. Their names are forgotten. Their ambitions rot alongside their unfulfilled potential. Understand something deep inside you. No one will remember you for what you almost did. No one will write songs about the guy who almost became great. Only results matter. Only achievements stand the test of time. Masculinity is about leaving a mark, about carving your existence into history with blood, sweat, and unbreakable willpower. You're not remembered for what you dreamt. You're remembered for what you conquered. If you could see the future that's slipping away from you every time you choose weakness, it would terrify you. You would see yourself old, broken, bitter, a shadow of the man you could have been. That's your real enemy, not failure, not rejection, not risk. Your real enemy is the man you become if you continue living like a coward. The lost dreams, wasted strength, the haunting what ifs. That should scare you more than any setback or defeat. It's because while failure can be fixed with work, regret is eternal. The pain of discipline weighs ounces. The pain of regret weighs tons. Every day you wake up is a test. A test to see if you are worthy of the life you say you want, and most of you are failing. Not because you aren't capable, but because you're soft. Because you refuse to embrace the reality that building a powerful masculine life demands sacrifice. It demands waking up earlier than you want to. It demands working harder than you think you can. It demands suffering more than you believe you should have to suffer. Success doesn't listen to your complaints. Power doesn't pity your feelings. Greatness bows only to those willing to pay the full price in blood, sweat, and soul. TopG, the world belongs to the strong. It always has, it always will. The weak can whine about fairness all they want, it changes nothing. Power doesn't care about your excuses. Power doesn't care how unfair your childhood was. Power only respects action, effort, and unrelenting dominance. You are not owed anything. You are not entitled to comfort or happiness. You must build your kingdom brick by brick. Fight for every inch of progress and protect what you create with everything you have. If you want a throne, you better be ready to bleed for it. And if you refuse to move, if you refuse to act, someone else will. There's a man out there right now, hungrier than you, harder than you, more ruthless than you, who is going to take everything you were too lazy to earn. The world is not empty. Every opportunity you let slip, another man seizes. Every inch you retreat, another man advances. There is no neutral ground. You are either conquering or being conquered. That is the law of reality, and no amount of crying will ever change it. In the world of men, you eat or you get eaten. There is no in between. The choice is simple. Become the man the world fears losing, or become the man the world forgets. The power is already inside you. It's been there since the day you were born. It's waiting, buried under years of excuses and weakness. Dig it out, unleash it. Become the force of nature you were always meant to be. Because if you don't, you will spend your final days choking on the bitter truth that you had everything you needed and still chose to waste it. There comes a point where you either accept the weight of greatness or you collapse under the burden of your own weakness. Life doesn't hand power to the timid. Life doesn't reward the man who waits for permission. It crowns the man who tears through obstacles without asking, without apologizing, without flinching. You don't get strong by thinking about it. You get strong by surviving the battles everyone else runs from. And every scar you carry, every hardship you've endured, every failure that tried to break you but didn't, those are the marks of a man being forged, not destroyed. And the ones who understand this, the ones who realize pain is the tuition of kingship, they are the ones who rise while the rest decay. There are no shortcuts. There is no elevator to the top. You climb with bleeding hands. You claw with broken fingers. You endure storms that would bury other men. And that's exactly why you deserve to win. The crown feels heavy because it was never meant for cowards. Masculinity isn't a birthright. It's a battle. Every day you must re-earn the right to call yourself a man through your actions, your discipline, your refusal to fold. You build your empire not when it's easy, but when it's hardest. When every part of you screams to quit and you choose to continue anyway, that's when you step into the rare breed of manhood the world fears and secretly envies. Weakness is a disease that infects quietly. It tells you to compromise. It whispers that you've done enough. It seduces you into comfort until you wake up one day soft, passive, irrelevant. You cannot negotiate with weakness. You cannot pity it. You cannot entertain it. Weakness must be hunted down inside you and slaughtered without mercy. Every time you let yourself slip, every time you excuse laziness or cowardice, you're feeding the enemy inside your own soul. The man you want to become is built on the bones of the man you refuse to be any longer. There is no evolution without execution. You must kill the parts of you unworthy of survival. Most men are desperate to be liked, desperate to be accepted. They neuter themselves just to fit into a world that despises them anyway. Understand something, the world will never love a man who loves himself first. And that's exactly why you must never seek approval. Masculinity is not about bending to fit society's mold. It's about breaking society's chains with your bare hands. You are not born to fit in. You were born to conquer. Every second you spend worrying about opinions is a second you are not sharpening your mind, building your body, fortifying your soul. You do not have time to be liked. You have work to do. You have wars to win. Pain is your ally if you have the courage to embrace it. Every moment of struggle, every ounce of exhaustion, every setback you endure without surrender is transforming you into something unbreakable. Comfort is the enemy of greatness. Every easy choice you make weakens you. Every hard choice you make strengthens you. Masculinity is forged in the furnace of adversity, not in the embrace of comfort. If it feels easy, you're not growing. If it feels unbearable, you're on the right path. The man who can endure the most becomes the man who can command the most. You are not here to chase happiness. You're here to build legacy. Happiness is a fleeting feeling, a chemical flicker in your brain. Legacy is eternal. Your ancestors didn't claw their way through centuries of suffering so you could live soft and irrelevant. They fought, bled, starved, and died so you could have the chance to be extraordinary. Their blood is your foundation. Honor it. Every time you choose weakness, you spit on their sacrifice. Every time you choose strength, you become worthy of their name. You are the product of warriors. Act like it. No one is coming to save you. No mentor, no book, no program, no savior. You are the answer you've been waiting for. A man who masters himself masters the world. You don't need motivation. You need discipline. You don't need inspiration. You need obsession. Masculinity is about building such a strong internal world that nothing external can break it. Your mind must be a fortress. Your heart must be a furnace. Your will must be a sword sharpened against the anvil of life. You must become the storm, not the man begging the storm to pass. The only limits you have are the ones you accept. The only change on your life are the ones you refuse to break. When you understand that, truly understand it, you realize the terrifying and beautiful truth. You can be anything you are willing to bleed for. You can become unstoppable, untouchable, undeniable. Discipline is the passport to freedom. Pain is the toll you pay. Every time you feel tired, remember, tired is the price of becoming dangerous. Every time you feel fear, remember, fear is the tax on greatness. Every time you feel broken, remember, broken is the birthplace of unstoppable men. This world will beat you down if you let it. It will convince you to settle, to accept mediocrity, to find comfort in being average. But somewhere deep inside you, there's a voice screaming for more. A voice telling you that you were meant for something greater, that you weren't born to survive, you were born to dominate. Listen to that voice. Trust it. Feed it. Let it drive you into becoming the man you dream about when no one's looking. The hunger you refuse to silence becomes the empire you eventually build. The power of masculinity is not about domination of others. It's about domination of yourself. It's about taming the wild chaos within you into a focused, disciplined, relentless force that bends reality to your will. It's about standing unshakable in a world that's desperate to break you. It's about becoming the man who doesn't just survive adversity, he thrives in it. He grows stronger. He becomes inevitable. Masculinity is not what you inherit. It's what you build day by day, sacrifice by sacrifice, choice by brutal choice. And when you finally rise, when you finally become that man, understand something. You won't have to scream for respect. You won't have to beg for recognition. The world will see you and know power cannot be faked. Discipline cannot be bought. Masculinity cannot be imitated. It must be earned in the trenches of pain, built in the silence of sacrifice, and revealed in the unstoppable momentum of action. And when you stand at the peak of your own mountain, every scar, every failure, every ounce of blood spilled along the way will make sense. Greatness demands everything, but it gives back eternity. There is no tomorrow. There is no later. There is no someday. The man you are meant to become demands action now. Every second you hesitate, every moment you procrastinate, you are voluntarily surrendering your throne to weaker men. Destiny doesn't wait for the hesitant. It rewards the relentless. Masculinity is not built in thoughts or dreams. It is built in decisive action. It is forged in the mornings you don't want to get up but do. In the nights you want to quit but grind anyway. In the silent battles where no one is watching but you refuse to lose because you know the only person you can never afford to disappoint is yourself. If you could see the life that is possible for you, the strength, the respect, the legacy, you would sprint through fire to reach it. But most men will never taste it because they're slaves to comfort. Prisoners of fear. You either own your mind or your mind owns you. The power of masculinity is not gifted to the lucky. It is seized by those willing to bleed for it, to fight the inner wars that cowards refuse to face. You must decide if you are one of them, the few who will become unbreakable, or if you will rot among the millions who chose ease over excellence. There is no middle ground. You either conquer or you are conquered. Your name will either be whispered in reverence or forgotten in disgrace. Your story will either ignite generations or vanish in mediocrity. The world only remembers the ones who refused to be average. Everything you need to win is already inside you. The hunger, the anger, the ambition. But these flames must be fed with discipline, sharpened with sacrifice, fueled by a relentless refusal to accept anything less than domination. You cannot become the man you're destined to be by living like the man you are today. Growth demands war against who you are for the sake of who you must become. You are standing at the crossroads of your life. One path is easy: comfort, distraction, weakness, slow decay. The other path is brutal, struggle, sacrifice, endless effort. But at the end of that brutal path stands the version of you that fears nothing, bows to no one, commands respect without speaking a word. The pain of discipline weighs ounces. The pain of regret weighs tons. You must choose your suffering. Suffer now and become a king, or suffer forever under the chains of your own wasted potential. There is no way around it, only through it. Only through fire can gold be purified. Only through war can a man discover who he really is. The power of masculinity is a quiet, relentless force. It doesn't need to shout, doesn't need validation. It radiates from the way you move, the way you speak, the way you dominate your environment without ever having to announce yourself. True power is silent but undeniable. When you walk into a room, the air should shift. Not because you demand attention, but because your presence demands respect. That kind of power cannot be faked. It must be built brick by brutal brick. Every hardship you endure, every temptation you conquer, every fear you crush, lays another stone in the fortress of your legacy. Time to talk is over. The time to plan is over. There comes a point when planning becomes cowardice and action becomes necessity. This is that point. Every excuse you are making right now, every delay you are allowing is theft. You are robbing your future self of the life he deserves because you are too weak to act in the present. That weakness must die. That hesitation must be buried. Masculinity is reborn every time you reject weakness and choose to fight when you feel like quitting. Masculinity is reborn every time you sacrifice temporary pleasure for permanent power. Masculinity is reborn every time you silence the pathetic voice inside that tells you to take it easy, to slow down, to settle. You don't need permission to become a weapon. You don't need validation to unleash your potential. You don't need the world to approve before you choose to become a force in nature. The lions do not ask the sheep for approval. Stop waiting for the world to crown you. Crown yourself through relentless action, through silent sacrifice, through an obsession with improvement so vicious, so unforgiving, that mediocrity can't survive a second in your present. Power masculinity is not given, it is built, it is earned, it is unleashed. And once unleashed, it becomes unstoppable. Your enemies are betting that you will give up. The people who doubted you are laughing in secret, hoping you stay weak. Every man who has ever looked down on you, doubted you, disrespected you, they all expect you to fail. Victory is the only response the world deserves. Let your success suffocate their doubts. Let your discipline choke their laughter. Let your unstoppable rise burn a hole in the reality they thought they knew. Become so undeniable that the universe itself must make room for your greatness, because if you do not rise, you will be buried, and no one will mourn the weak. This is your time. Right here, right now. Every second matters. Every breath is an opportunity to build or to break, to fight or to fold, to rise or to rot. The world is yours if you have the courage to seize it. You can either suffer the pain of growth today or suffer the pain of regret forever. Choose growth. Choose war. Choose the brutal, painful, glorious path to dominance. Choose to build a life that makes your name echo through eternity. The power of masculinity is in your blood. Awaken it, sharpen it, unleash it, and never, ever apologize for it.